The Selesnya Conclave is a vast interconnected commune that constantly strives to recruit new members, valuing the strength of the whole rather than the individual. Let's find out more about Selesnya.
The Selesnya Conclave is the guild for both white and green mana. They are sort of a giant commune who wants to espouse the return of nature to Ravnica. However, the guild is both green and white, which means it's a particular kind of nature. It's very manicured and very controlled. The Selesnya value community above the self, almost to a sinister degree. The self is just not important in comparison with the larger community. The guild also serves Ravnica's spiritual needs more than the other guilds do. When an individual on Ravnica is looking for a greater sense of belonging, the Selesnya Conclave will likely be their first stop.
Back in Scars of Mirrodin, I came up with a mechanic called Proliferate. It played into my sensibilities. I really liked it, so I was excited to have it in the set, but it exploded. People loved it, and we were doing Selesnya, and I said to Ken, who's the lead, I said, you know, I think it'd be fun to do Proliferate, but for creature tokens. And the idea is just copy every creature token in play. So we tried that, and it was broken. So we decided, I said, okay, well, just pick one. And I thought that it would play into the same kind of sensibilities as Proliferate, and so that is how Populate came to be.
We did different things to make this work. First of all, white has a card that makes a 1/1 flyer and populates. So you're guaranteed to at least have that 1/1 flyer. So when you put that in, you know that you're going to get at least a 1/1 flyer, but if you have another token, you can populate that one instead. You don't have to get two 1/1 flyers. And we wanted green to make bigger tokens. So white gives you little tokens pretty efficiently and reliably. Green's a little slower going, but gives you 3/3 centaurs. So there's a 1-mana creature that you sacrifice and get a 3/3 centaur. And there's some larger ones. There's an X spell that gives you a slime. And then the gold, we gave you the best tokens of all. For GW, just 2 mana, in the original Ravnica, you got a Watchwolf, a 3/3. In this set, to make sure you could put some extra tokens in your deck without watering it down too much, we just give you a 3/3 Centaur token for GW, which looks worse because tokens are vulnerable to bounce. They don't go back to your hand. But here, you just play that, then you start populating, you get it online, so you should always be able to get it done.
Well, Selesnya has a lot of cards that allow you to populate. Things like Tristani, but also cards at lower rarities that really want you to have a token on the battlefield. An example of a card like that is Vitu-Ghazi Guildmage. Now, for 4 mana, you can populate with the card. So if you have a token, that's a really, really, really good rate. But you might ask yourself, well, how do you get a token? Well, the card also, for 6 mana, gives you a 3/3 Centaur. And the idea is the upfront cost of paying 6 to get a 3/3 is pretty high. But once you're there, you're off to the races, able to populate every turn with this card. It's part of the way we wanted to do the guild mages this time around, a little bit unique, kind of playing into the guild identity more than the separate color identities of the colors. And we're really satisfied with how those cards turned out.
So in coming up with a new guild leader for the Selesnya Conclave, it was, I was starting to think about, well, what am I going to do? And then Richard Witters, our concept artist, drew this awesome 3-bodied dryad creature and said, what do you think about that? And I was like, that's awesome.
When you come to something like a guild leader, they need to look unique and sort of be unique. They can't really be just your soldier on the street. They have to be something strange and different and sort of stand out. So I felt like at the time I really took a risk on that sort of design.
Tristani can be a real powerhouse. Like, she can get things going, and then you get a token, make more tokens, it's gaining life. It can really swing a game back in your favor that otherwise seems like it's lost.
I think what's neat about her is that she promotes her people. She makes more creatures. That she's not really about attacking. She's about just wanting you to have tons and tons of creatures and rewarding you for doing so. And I feel like she speaks volumes and she's powerful, but she's powerful in a reactive way, not in a beat your face kind of way.
So visually, we got to see those motifs pay off in the art for Temple Garden. Voikin Baga painted it. It's all of those ideas kind of coming together. It's an enormous, almost cathedral interior that is large enough to house nature itself rather than being surrounded by it, or, literally it's kind of a temple to nature.
The Hanging Gardens of Babylon, essentially.
Without the hanging or the Babylon. So just gardens.
My belief, my people, my guild, Selesnya, won't you join us?